everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Trapped in My Mind. I'm your host, Seth, and today with me I have one of my good buddies, Chris Karbler.
What's up, guys?
I'm excited that you're here. We were at Ross's just the other week, kind of talking about the podcast, and you said you wanted to come on. So I guess first question, why did you want to come on?
Well, one, I had a podcast before that I did. It was a little more, hockey oriented. I had people on tell their story of how they got to where they were, how they grew up playing hockey, how their passion came and where they went and their story. But now that I'm older, my hockey days are about to end here. School's going to be done in the, end of the semester. But I have a lot more views, the things that I want to talk about, other stuff that interests me, kind of like my, we'll talk about life after sports kind of, but I'm interested to talk about different kind of topics, share my thoughts. And, we haven't really talked too much lately. So it's somebody I wanted to get back with and, have some conversation, catch up a little bit,
Yeah, I miss seeing you face to face. I don't think we hung out one-on-one in quite some time.
No, especially like through high school, just because I've parted my ways,
This guy went to play good high school hockey. I was stuck in Livonia.
You'll hear about it a little bit, probably, I'm sure, later on. But yeah, it was kind of different, growing up. Like we were all together so much, like we had our friend group, like you, me, Wes, like all those guys, Ross, like when we got to high school and I had to kind of venture off, it wasn't my decision. Like if you asked me, and I'll still say it, I probably would have chose to stay with you guys and go to Franklin. That's where I wanted to go. You're my friend group, but like. We got there, and my mom and grandpa. My grandpa went to like the first ever Jesuit high school.
U of D, by the way.
Yes, U of D Jesuit. Sorry for not clarifying. I went to U of D Jesuit. Should have went to Franklin. Wanted to go to Franklin, but he went to the first ever Jesuit high school in New York, Regis.
Ooh.
Still around today. Like they only accept 100 people a year. Like people apply to go to school there and stuff. But back when he was there, it was usually just the top students in the New York area,
I didn't know it was like a chain school, or maybe not chain, but
it's just like a different denomination than like, how there's CC, Cranbrook, like they're Catholic schools, you know what I mean? Jesuit is just like another denomination of, Christianity, Catholic, like kind of along those lines. There's people called Jesuits instead of priests. So that's kind of why it's different is they have like a different path. Instead of becoming a priest, they choose to become a Jesuit, where they go on this journey for, they spend a year, I believe it is, traveling on their own with like X amount of money. Like they only get like $500, and they just have to go make this journey from like point A to point B kind of thing. And they have to do it for a month. And
this is Christianity?
No, this is Jesuits.
But
these are Jesuits. Yeah, but
this is like a branch of Christianity?
Yes,
okay.
yes. So like, that's what I'm trying to say. How there's priests and there's like monks and stuff. So Jesuit is just like another order, but it's underneath priests. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's just like another like person, like a figure in the in the church world.
But that school, the U of D, is still like a Catholic school,
Still
right?
Still Catholic school, yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a different denomination. So anyway, that's why I ended up going to U of D, kind of, and I think like looking back on it, like it's tough because I have a lot of friends and relationships I made from high school,
with
like
people at U of D.
Yeah, but like you guys were always like my core friend group, and like I think why I talk about wanting to come on this podcast is like we were always so close and it was so fun, and then just one day I was just like gone. Like
it was weird.
It was just really weird.
You're also living right down the street from me too.
Yeah, I was still right down the street, but like I'm trying to be like open to going to U of D at the same time and try to venture out, and so I think that's what I did. It's just I was open to what was going on. I tried to accept it, and it was just tough. So that's why I wanted to like rehinder this kind of relationship with you guys, like with Ross, Brody, you, Jake, Wes, like all the people I grew up with. I missed that time where you start to understand, like you grow up and you start to figure out who you are and what you want to contribute to society and things like that,
Yeah.
And so that's like my main reason for wanting to come on this podcast.
Oh, well, we don't need a podcast to chat, buddy.
I know.
I'm glad you're here.
Oh, yeah.
I know you said you went to U of D, which is a Christian school, right? And one of the topics that I sent you a list. One of the topics you want to talk about was Christianity versus spirituality, or any type of belief one may have.
Yeah.
And I'll come right out and say I don't really follow anything very closely. I'm not very educated on religion in one way or the other, or spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
because I've never really I never practiced it. I never went to church. I think the only time I've been to church has been for someone's wedding or funeral, or I
Yeah.
guess I had a few cousins get baptized or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
that being said, were you? What did you think of going to a Christian school? Are you Catholic or?
Yeah. So this is kind of where I want to talk about my differences here a little bit. So like, yes, I grew up Catholic. Like my grandma on my mom's side, 100% Catholic. So I went to Catholic school growing up. Like before I went to Cooper in fifth grade,
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Montessori for like preschool, kindergarten. Got kicked out of there for fighting. Not joking. Like preschool and kindergarten. I'm not joking. My mom had to tell me. Yeah, kids were taking my toys. I just wanted them back.
Hey,
they were mine.
Fighting stays for hockey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then I went to St. Robert Bellarmine, first grade through fourth grade. Okay, so like Inkster, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you go to church every Sunday too?
No, we didn't really go to church every Sunday. My mom actually, my mom's an atheist actually, so
Okay.
like she doesn't believe in anything. So I guess where it kind of came down the line is like my grandparents wanted me to go to Catholic school. So
Skip a generation.
Yeah, skipped a generation. So I grew up, I did confirmation, did first communion, did all that. Was at St. Robert Bellarmine. And as I grew older, I went to Cooper and I started venturing away. We never went to church on Sundays. And I guess when I came back to U of D, I started to kind of learn, like I learned a little bit more, because we had religion class every year. So we had like
Learn more about religion.
Yeah, so we have world religion, and then the sophomore, junior, senior year was all about Catholics, Christianity. So where I kind of stand on that is like, I'm not mad at people who want to believe in a certain religion, follow those ways, because it's a way of life. You know what I mean? It's a way of life, but I just view it separately from my spirituality. So where I'm getting at with this is like, religion is a set of values and rules that have kind of been, brought up through generations and generations. We have this theory of Adam and Eve, whole different topic. Don't want to start getting into Big Bang versus Adam and Eve, but you know what I mean? Like Christianity's been around for a while. Like a lot of people in this country grew up on it, and I just don't view it like, it just almost seems more like forced upon people. You know what I mean? Like religion seems like you always hear about these stories from other countries about how parents are like so faithful in their religion. And again, I'm not mad at anybody like that, but then they push that on their kids, and then their kids push that on their kids. And it's like, you're forcing somebody to live a certain way of life is just kind of like how I view it now. It's like, I can't cheat. I can't have sex until I'm married,
Can't
like
swear.
I can't swear.
Have tattoos.
Yeah. Like fuck shit. You know what I mean?
The sky is going.
No, but like I respect it. Like people believe in it, and it helps them stay grounded to who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
It makes them believe in something, and that's who they are. Like I have no answers to the end of this tunnel. It's just that I'm different in that aspect of I'm more spiritual now. So I grew up Catholic, and it's not that I certainly believed in it. It was just more of what I was taught. I went to Catholic school. I learned it, and it was what I was supposed to believe in, kind of. But like they don't press that on you at U of D. You know what I mean? They don't force you to be like religious in religion class, or they don't like force you to believe in things. It's just there. It's
part of the code.
Yeah, we had a dress code. We had a haircut rule,
Really?
off the ears, off the back of the neck. Yeah, we had to wear suit and tie every day. So like sport coat, shirt, tie, belt. Yeah, sport coat was only on special occasions, but dress shirt, tie, dress shoes. Couldn't wear sneakers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't wear ankle socks, kind of thing. Somebody actually caught you with ankle socks. It's pretty bad that the teacher would actually go out of their way to do that, because like sometimes you just have a rough morning and you're like, shoot, I just gotta put socks on and go. You know what I mean? Like it happens. But back to this religion thing. I'm more spiritual, and I believe in things. Like I have morals. I have all these different beliefs. Like I believe in one man, one woman. So I take that from Christianity.
Monogamous?
Yeah, like okay. I want my person that I'm with to only want to be with me.
Okay.
I don't want to see her going off with another dude and hanging out all night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be okay with it. That's just not me. But like, I don't believe. If you want to drink, you can drink. If you want to smoke, you can smoke. If you want to swear, you can swear. Like, if you want to do what you want, you do what you want. I don't believe in like you should be punished and like have to repent for your sins. You know what I'm saying? Is what I've learned growing up.
So
and like
that's a question I have.
Yeah.
It's again, and this is just my opinions based off of my observations. I could be missing the mark a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
So correct me if I say something that's incorrect. I feel like in Christianity specifically, you can be a shitty person, but as long as you ask for forgiveness, then all is forgiven. So I'm not saying this is all Christians, because it's definitely not. There's a lot of people who use Christianity or any religion really as like like you said, a book, like a template of morals and how they should abide by it and whatnot. But there's also people who can abuse that and say, "Oh, I'm a good person because I'm religious," when really they're not a good person, but they use that as like a blanket over the type of person that they are. You know what I mean? So like I can be doing all these shitty things, but it's like, well, at the end of the day, if I just ask for forgiveness, all is forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I would say I kind of agree with you. I don't know exactly what your definition of spiritual is, because I don't know that I'm that either.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe in like different core values. If you're a good person,
yeah.
If you treat me well and you don't ever try to like really harm somebody, then I think that's okay. But
yeah, I agree with you on that. Like even taking aspects of other religion, like I believe in karma. Like I really like in a generalized form of karma, you know what I mean? Like if I do something bad to you, like if I steal the pack of White Claws from your fridge when I leave, like that's karma. Yeah, exactly. That's karma on me.
Then you're gonna get pulled over on the way home.
Exactly. That I'm serious. Like I kind of believe in that, but like if I get pulled over, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Or like maybe somebody steals something from me in the next week. You know what I mean? Like I believe in karma, and that's where I think my spirituality comes into play. Is like I believe that there's this kind of like, I'm going to use this word, and I'm not trying to like throw anybody off, but like energy, like there's this weird like bond between like people and life and like what's going on. You know what I mean? Like something happens when you die. Like I'm not shunning everything that Catholics believe,
or any religion.
Yeah, or any religion. Yes, like I something happens when we die. Do I know what happens? No, I haven't gotten there. I haven't lived that, so I can't. That's where I can't speculate. But like I believe in karma. I believe in treat others the way you want to be treated. Like. I'm spiritual, the fact that I believe that you can tell that there's like an energy between people. There's like, there's good vibes between people and stuff. And it also relates to your morals, like how you act every day, how you treat people, how you conduct yourself. It kind of all ties in. And I know people would say this is more morals, but like, I just can't grasp myself around the religion, because most religions rely on you to understand and follow like every aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're Catholic, you're supposed to follow all the rules. Like they want you to. I know that in this day and age, you can do what you want. So I'm just explaining kind of like my views on it. That's where I come. Like I don't follow Catholics, even though I was raised that and stuff. You know what I mean? Well, like it just seems almost. And I'm going to use the word again. Like I think it's almost like a cult kind of thing. Like, and some people may view that my word of that as attacking religion, but it has
a very negative connotation. But
yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
Like it's a group of people that want things done a certain way and only this way, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's where it's as Megan said in the last episode, which hasn't been aired yet. There's a spectrum of how you choose to follow whatever it be, religion, spirituality, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's an end of that spectrum that's cult-like, where it's like you do everything it says, and our interpretation of the Bible in this case is that for example, you can't be gay. That's a sin. That's what I don't know.
Yeah, but like, where do you have the room to tell somebody they can?
Well, then doesn't it also say later in the Bible like love thy neighbor as oneself or something like that?
Yes, in a nutshell, yeah.
So you have one end of the spectrum that's very extreme that I would agree with you is cult-like, but then you have like a more modernized belief, set of beliefs where it's kind of like it's more values based, which I think that's good. No matter what anybody uses as a enabler for their values, whether it's religion, spirituality, friends, they're atheists. If they have values and morals, I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
but if they start pushing their agenda, no matter what it is, if I'm satanic, if I'm atheist, if I'm Christian, if I'm Buddhist, and I start pushing it on you, that's where I'm like, yo,
yeah,
Take it easy.
That's fair.
Take it easy.
Yeah, like I guess, we're kind of in that gap year, of generations, being born in like 96. So like when I'm going to grade school, it's kind of being like taught to you the way I explain it, like you just said, like, you push, it's kind of like before this modern era, how we're in this modern, this new era of, like you said, morals and values and stuff, where it's more modernized. Like when I was growing up, it was still felt to me like it was being taught, like, you're shunned, like you have to sin or you have to repent when you sin, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like when I was just growing up at St. Robert's, like that's just kind of what it felt like me. It was kind of like you got to follow all these rules, and if you don't, then it's not your way of life,
So
and you're shunned.
Does that make it more stressful as a kid that you're living under like such a?
I don't think it was that stressful because I knew in my head, I was just like, you know what, like you can't make me, like you can't tell me I have to go and repent for my sins because I swore every day. You know what I mean? Like it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean?
That's you though, because I feel like, I knew that if I did something bad as a kid, my parents would, be pissed. But if there's a kid or children, whoever, that have all this pressure from their parents saying that God will,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really speak too much.
I know. I don't
I'm not educated
either.
on it.
I guess it's weird because my mom was an atheist too.
But like, if you're a kid, and, like your parents say God will be mad if you do this or whatever, like you're using it as like you better be good. I could see that being like really, kind of like crippling. For example, I have a couple of people in mind. Again, I'm not going to name names, but they come from a Catholic school, right? Mm-hmm. Come into high school, they lose their shit, or they go through Catholic school all through high school, going to college, lose their shit. Because they get to finally act out. So it's like I feel like there's at least with parenting, again, I'm not a parent that I know of. But I think my parents did a pretty good job of, it's give and take. You set morals, you set boundaries, but if you're too over their shoulder and too hard on them, then eventually they're going to want to misbehave.
Yeah, speaking of that, that's kind of the chain I had. Is like my grandparents were really hard on my mom, and that was, through conversation, I learned from my mom that's how she grew up. So, like, when it came to her parenting me, she gave me more of that leash. And granted, she had me when she was young. She was 19. So that's where it kind of changed. Like, it was different. I heard about all the things that her parents did to her, like, curfew, had to be back, weren't allowed to do this, blah, 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 things, And she went to Mercy and ended up transferring to Churchill. But when she came to me, like, when we got to, like, high school, it was completely different from what I had heard, Like, she gave me this kind of, like, freedom. Like, oh, you got your license? Okay, cool. There were no rules. It was like, all right, you got your license. Have fun kind of thing,
Yeah.
Like, she gave you that line to cross, but, like...
And if you cross it, you'd be corrected. But
yes,
it's not like she's already assuming you're going to cross it. Be like, I'm going to kill you.
Which I admire. I admire what she did because, like, she gave me all the freedom in the world so I could explore my boundaries. I could go do these things. I could do what I want. But when she finds out, there's going to be the repercussions still there. You know what I'm saying? But she wasn't, like, forcing anything on me, She gave me all the free reign, and it was go do, you can do what you want. And I'm not saying she was like, yep, go out, stay out till like 3 a.m. like on a school night. You know what I mean? Like,
not an absent parent.
Yeah, not an absent parent, but like, okay, you don't have, you just tell me where you're going. Tell me when tell me when you're on your way home. Things like that.
If you're gonna drink, call me.
Yeah, if you're gonna drink, call me. I'll pick you up. It was very relaxed, and I admire her for learning from what maybe she didn't like and trying to use that on me. You know what I mean? That was very. Like heartwarming. It gave you like a sense of trust, you know what I mean? But then the day you break that trust, like there was a day when we were screaming at each other, like at my grandparents, and I'm not gonna lie, this was a random day. It wasn't like I did anything bad, wasn't like I did anything wrong. It was just like one day we were living at my grandparents, probably in high school at this point. You were at that, where the house is at, right?
Yeah.
Grad party house? Okay. And we're just screaming at each other. And I honestly can't tell you about what. And when I let out this word, I said the C word. And I don't want to say it, but everybody else knows it. Yeah, okay, yeah. But in my heart, as soon as like the next week, my mom hated me. Like she literally, it felt like she was gonna ask me to, like move out.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, I guess, this turning point in our relationship because I was screaming at my grandparents too because I was so upset and in like rage. And I don't know what happened, but like I just got humbled. After that point, I was like, I cannot be treating like I'm treating my mom like I'm taking advantage of everything that she just gave me. Like
Yeah.
just
Well, and
to
that
point.
punishment and that learning was a lot more valuable than come in by 9, come in by 10, and like
Yeah.
And I think bringing it back to religion, that's if people use religion like a good parent who gives you kind of guidance and will help you learn from mistakes that you make instead of you fucking follow these rules. If you follow these rules, you'll be good and you'll go to heaven. But if you don't follow these rules, you have a lot of sinning to make up for, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like the cult like side of it is like
Yeah.
a bad overbearing parent, and then as the spectrum goes down towards a more laid back side to a point,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a good parent. And then there's also the side where it's like pure anarchy, where
Yeah.
you don't want that either.
No, you don't want that. Yeah. So like that's just kind of there's so many different areas of like religion and stuff, and I think that for me too, like getting away from the word religion for myself and just calling myself spiritual, just more helped me like understand who I am and like what the things I want to do because, like I said, growing up, just always seemed like religion was kind of like this way or the highway kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want that. Like, it's not that I wanted to be a rebel and go off and do all these crazy things. It's more of just like, just let me formulate my opinion and like think about what I want to think. Like instead of trying to follow these set standard values. Like these set ways. Like I appreciate my mom for being who she is. I guess an atheist, but like she never pressured me to like believe in a certain way.
Yeah,
Like
I'd say I agree.
yeah, so that's something I'm thankful for from her is that like I'm very spiritual because I think I believe in karma. I believe in these energy between people and like treat others the way you want to be treated. But like I still have some aspects of these different religions formed into my spirituality, and it's and I know other people may be gray areaed about or wondering about what I mean between religion and spirituality. It's more of just like the way I feel and the way I think about things and the people around me, which a lot of people see as morals and values.
So that's more of my question: is what's the distinction between spirituality and then just
Morals.
here's my morals that I live by? Because I know for me, people it's not very often that people just come right out and say, "Hey, what's your beliefs?"
Yeah,
Because I don't know what to say because I don't know if I'm agnostic or atheist or have a little trickle of Christianity in me. But I would just say, I feel like if I said spirituality, people would be like, "Oh, you're a hippie. I'm gonna write you off."
yeah.
But it's more so like I have values, and that's just what I. Do you think I'm a good person? Yes. Okay. Well, then who cares what my beliefs are? No. Okay. Then tell me what's the issue, and then I'll work on it.
Yes. So, yeah, like I'm the same way. Like I have morals, I have values, and a lot of people would say just the way I'm talking, I'm an atheist or I'm agnostic. But like I believe,
Or a hippie. That's
or a
that's what
hippie.
you hear a lot when spirituality is thrown out there.
I know, and I don't. You ask me about politics, I'm gonna tell you I'm a hippie. But we're gonna stay away from that right now. It's a whole different train. But anyway, yeah, like it's just the word religion it doesn't scare me. It more just like frustrates me because I've learned about all these different religions, and like I said, it's like it's a set standard way. Like when you read about it, it's like they shun you from the village kind of thing if you do this. Like in
The
other
far
countries,
side.
yeah, like the far
Not
side.
all.
I know it's more modernized. It's more of just like I love the structure. Like Catholic school. It gave me structure. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to do things what I want the way I wanted, and the structure kept me grounded. That's where I'm thankful for religion. But I use this word spiritual because I want to give also people the hope and belief of like, yeah, you have morals and values, but like everybody wants to kind of understand where they stand on religion. Like we're having this conversation. If I meet somebody at the bar and the religion comes up, I'm just going to tell them I'm spiritual. And yeah, like you can call me a hippie. That's probably what I am. I'm probably a hippie. And a lot of people probably wouldn't have guessed that growing up throughout high school and stuff like that. But like, I could fully probably agree that you could call me a hippie. Like, I just want peace. I want happiness. I want people to understand that just because you believe something completely different from me, and it doesn't have to be religious, it could be moral wise, it could be value wise. If you and I know how to give a time and have like, positive vibes and have a good time around each other and we enjoy that, why do we need to focus on all the, differences? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, there's a lot of negativity going on in the world, and I think that's where I like to get away from religion, and I just view myself as spiritual,
Yeah.
Because I believe that things are out there, and there's this higher presence, or whatever you want to say it in religion terms, or energy, but, like, I know it's there, I just don't know, I can't believe in, like, a certain structure, you know? So I'm spiritual that there's things out there, and there's things will happen, and there's an afterlife, and things like that, but have I honed in on, like, a fine list of what those are? No. Do I have the answers of what I think? No. I'm open to, like, what's going to happen,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of taking it as, I'm just sitting there and I'm on the ride. I'm enjoying the ride, and I know that something is going to be there for me in the end, kind of thing,
I hear that. I mean, that's the premise of this podcast is to, we can have our differences. And me personally, it's very hard for me to keep a grudge with somebody or to hate them or treat them badly if I understand their side of things. Even if I don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
If I understand, if they can explain to me in a way that makes sense to me at all, I don't have any conflict with you. But, and I don't know if this is what you meant, or if I just misheard it, but you said, you want there to be peace and love, and there's a lot of conflict and issue in the world, and you don't want to be a part of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to that, I would say you're very correct. There is a lot of conflict, but instead of like ignoring it or running away from it, which maybe not is not what you're doing, I think people need to just address that conflict and not aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
But if me and you are core beings, disagree about something, discuss it, and when you talk, actually listen. Don't think about what you're going to say next, but listen to what I'm saying before you generate a response, and vice versa, because then you're hearing me for what I am, and I'm hearing you for what you are. And aside from our beliefs, it humanizes one another.
Mm-hmm.
So all this conflict maybe couldn't be resolved by conversation, but everyone. I was talking about this with my dad. Everyone has like this innate instinct to fix things.
Yeah,
and it's just like, hey, okay, have you ever been in a relationship where you guys are arguing, and you just want to fix it, so like you think you know how. And that person just is like, no, I don't, like, maybe you pissed them off. And you're like, well, I can fix it this way. And they don't want to deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, all you're doing is your human instinct is saying, I want to fix it. I want to fix it. But the other person just wants to be recognized for the situation it is, felt, and leave it alone right now.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you called the cops on, hey, please come over, I think my girlfriend is dying or died, whatever. Cops come there. They just want to hug you, make you feel better. Mm-hmm. And then they start asking questions like, just to rule you out as a suspect, right? Yeah. But at that time, you don't want to be asked those questions.
Yeah, you start getting frustrated because you think people are pointing fingers.
But all they're trying to do is fix the situation. Mm-hmm. And so bringing it all the way full circle to conflict in the world, I'm not some person who's going to fix everything, but I think a lot of it is, you tell me something that I disagree with, I want to fix it. Not not much telling you you're wrong, but I want to fix it. But instead I have to hear it for what it is. Say, hey, I hear you, and then after that, maybe we can work on fixing it together. And one of those things, and we don't have to go down this whole tangent, but one of those things would be like police brutality, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not even gonna really, dive down that area with this conversation. But for example, if one side is saying, there's an improportionate amount of killings to black people than there are white people, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's just say there's a white person who says, no, if you look at the statistics, there really aren't. And even if that's true, even if they're not, before you can try to fix that and tell, in this case, a black person that, no, look at the facts. Your race isn't killed more. Mm-hmm. Even if that's true, they still feel that way. Yeah. So like I've never felt intimidated when I've been pulled over, but I can't say that for my black peers, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of trying to fix the situation and say right off the bat you're wrong, look at these statistics, you have to just listen and accept it. I know that's a very polarizing topic, so we don't have to go down that, but in any conflict I feel like listen to the other side, accept it before you try to fix it, because even though all you're trying to do is make it better, lots of times it makes it worse and then divides people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Like, you have to have patience in a lot of stuff going on nowadays because, one, like a podcast, we both have thoughts we want to get out. And
Everyone has an opinion they want to share.
Yeah, and we want to get detailed about it. Nobody wants just to just say, yes, I agree. Like, okay, why do you agree? You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be a nice question. Not just like, do you agree with me? Everybody wants to have, their sense of thought and, like, they want to be a part of something, you know what I mean? I kind of agree with what you're saying. Sorry, I'm not trying to go down this rabbit hole, so.
No, I hear you. I agree. Everyone wants their opinion heard.
Yeah.
And they do want to be a part of things, but also I think...
You got to be willing to hear the other side of it, too.
I also think people want their opinions challenged. And this is coming from, and I could be wrong, but I like to be right. I think I'm right often, and I'm learning that I'm not right as often as I think I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, if I was consistently right and everyone consistently agreed with me, it satisfied me for a little bit, but then I would never improve upon myself. So I actually like when somebody challenges my idea of thinking, and even if they don't make me disagree with myself, it brings a new perspective. So I feel like, and I could be wrong, people like to have their voices heard and challenged.
It's easy to be complacent. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to... If everybody in my friend group agrees every time I say something, like, oh, I'm just sitting on top of the world, you know what I mean? Like, I'm right every time. Like, no, you got to be challenged. Like, nobody, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I think we're all equal. So, like, and maybe it's a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying, kind of along that. Like, I don't want to say something, and every time I say something, everybody around me agrees. You don't want
a bunch of yes men in your posse.
Because then everybody's a follower. Like, I think we should all be. We all shouldn't be followers. There's some leaders.
I think there are some leaders and some followers naturally.
Naturally, yeah. There's some, but I think there's that middle range is where most people are because they want to follow some things, but then sometimes they want to lead some things compared to other people. Yeah, I agree.
I would 100% agree with that. So it's not very controversial, but I agree with you. I was going to say. You said something like 2 points ago that I really had a point to make, but now I'm forgetting it. So
you're good.
If it comes back to me, I'll bring it up.
Okay. Yeah. Like this all ties in to, like, I guess, a little bit of, how I grew up, like you said, spirituality versus religion, like how we got on this topic of everybody wants to be heard. Like, I guess it involves kind of like how I grew up too. It's like I was always a little bit more kind of reserved growing up, and reserved maybe not even be the best word. Is I was almost like I use the word innocent for myself, like growing up. Now that I look back at my older self, kind of, this is where maybe I've formed my opinions, that I've became more outgoing. And it's hard to say like reserved versus outgoing because I was still like, if I talk to teachers or friends, like I was still fine. Like it was just more of
you're never shy.
Never shy, just more of like kept to myself of my own opinions and stuff,
Yeah.
And like
because you can get shunned for your opinion, so you don't know what you can share.
Yeah, like sometimes, if everybody in your friend group, and I guess I saw it just became more amplified to me in high school than like our childhood because we were all just, we didn't have a lot of technology when, middle school. Like we had phones and we had maybe Facebook and MySpace, but like for the most part, we were pretty in-person, personable,
Dude, I had the keyboard where you had to hit a button 4 times to get a certain letter.
Exactly, yeah. So when high school came along, I guess Twitter and other things became more present. But anyway, stay away from social media. Like, it was just more of like, I grew up and I didn't want to share my opinions because I was always just a follower. I was like, go with the flow. Because again, this is something I believe in now is I just want people to be happy. Like, I want everybody to, believe in what they believe in. In high school, I didn't really see it as much. It seemed more like I would just agree with somebody. And then after that, it was just like, where's my opinion even thought about? I never even thought about how I feel about the situation. It was like, oh yeah, dude, I love that song. And I'd be like, oh yeah, me too, even though like maybe deep down I really didn't like it as much, You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of an example. I wouldn't say that it was like exactly what happened, but like as I was in my childhood, like that's just how I was. Like I just innocent of like, oh yeah, like I agree, because I just kind of like wanted to fit in.
Well, and peer pressure makes it a real bitch to, if you don't agree with what your group's saying to even come forward, especially if you're not the leader at that point. But I guess a question for you, in Catholic school, it sounds like throughout your high school uh, career, for lack of better words, you kind of came to your own and started to realize that maybe you weren't as religious as lots of the people here, or you didn't like, you might have made friends, but they didn't understand the full you because you felt like you maybe couldn't share all of your own views. Is that the case?
I guess so, yeah. And I want to even not even religion based, more of just who, I never even thought about those types of things. You know what I mean? Outside of school and my friends, we would have conversations and topics and and at lunch and stuff like that, and I'd speculate, and it just seemed like anything I said would just kind of get pushed down or pushed away. Yeah, in high school. Yeah, let's keep we're done with religion, out of religion.
Okay.
This is just me and my friends talking about random stuff kind of thing. Just everyday conversations you would have with people. You know what I mean?
You just weren't fully checked in.
I wasn't fully checked in, and then it also seemed like anytime I wanted, I would chime in, it just would get overpassed, or one in one ear out the other kind of thing,
which is frustrating.
Yeah, and so that's where I guess my patience has came into play more, as I was a little more angry, growing up and things like that, and I think that has to do a little bit with how my situation of how I grew up. A lot of parents would be married and get divorced, whereas my parents were never together. They had me in college, they were 19. They were freshmen in college, end of their freshman year when they found out they were having me. So no more sophomore year, dad's going to work, mom's having me in December,
So growing up, did you always know your dad? Was your dad though?
Oh yeah, yeah. I still have a relationship with my dad. I same person. I still talk to him. I'm going to his house on Monday. He's still there, but he was very tough on me. We'd wrestle all the time. He was a wrestler. He played college football, and when I was younger, we would wrestle, and it felt to me it kind of like a power thing. He always had the last word. He always had to win whenever we were playing a game, and I guess that's taught me a little bit about who I am too, because I'm very competitive and things like that. But it was hard on me because so let me put it this way, I would never tell my dad, I would never tell him half the things that I think I should, and I've gotten to the point where I've expressed more of who I am and how I feel and my things now that we're older, because we kind of built a relationship. But growing up, it was just so hard, because I wanted to share opinions and do things, but anytime I would, he would either yell, get upset that I kept going on because he wanted last word, and it wasn't that we were arguing. I was just trying to have a conversation, but I believed different, than he would think. But it then would turn into this argument.
Do you think your dad always wanted to have the last word growing up? It was what kind of caused you to, up until recently, kind of been the passive friend in the group of I'm the follower, so to say?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that statement 100%. And it was probably about a year and a half ago about that I kind of started changing this time. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend Marissa, and she's
Guys dropping names.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's fine. I don't, I'm just being honest. Names is fine with me. If she listens, that's fine. She's an awesome person. Her family is awesome. I never totally wish the best for her. You know what I mean? It was not because of anything that she did that we broke up. Okay. I needed better things for myself. So just the timing. And that's when I realized I got to start focusing on I have no opinions, if I went and met somebody in a bar, I wouldn't know what to talk about, because I don't I'm not educated and things like that, because also it's just kind of hockey was controlling my world a little bit. But I wanted to be more outgoing. I wanted to start talking to people. I wanted to stop sitting around and I wanted to be more active in what I was doing in my life. So I wanted to be more outgoing. I wasn't going to let anybody, shun me for what I say. If they want to disagree, then let's talk about it. Why do you believe that way, kind of thing.
Do you remember now? Because now that you're saying this, it makes more sense. It sheds light on some confusion I had regarding a phone call. Remember roughly 2 years ago, you called me. You said, maybe it was a year and a half ago. You called me. You're like, "Hey man, I just got in a breakup. I want to start doing more shit. It seems like you're always doing shit. I want to have fun. I want to meet more people. I want to do all these things. And, like, it was out of the blue. Like, we were always friends, but like you said, you went to high school, early college, and, like, it was out of state. So, like, we weren't even really talking. You just call me like, hey, my guy, I want to do all these things. I'm like, fuck? I'm like, yo, are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I just got a breakup. I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, or congrats.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I was so confused. I was like, well, I was kind of flattered, like, oh, you think I'm the fun person? And meanwhile, that was actually one of the times in my life where I was doing the worst. Mm-hmm. So it helped me a lot at that point. But for the longest time, I'm like, why? I don't understand it. But
why did you reach out?
So you felt like in that relationship, not any fault of your ex's, but just through maybe your own way, you didn't have much, you didn't have like much opinions or like much desires, and then once you kind of broke up, you realized that you were your own person, so you wanted to start doing these things and whatnot, or
to some extent, for the most part, like I wanted to get out. I wanted to start to. I just kind of felt a little sheltered. You know what I mean? Like it was all I worried about was hockey, my girlfriend, and how to get my grades up. In high school, and then I went to juniors, and all it was hockey, video games, and like I don't want to blame technology. I don't want to blame hockey. It was just more of like I was ready to open myself up to all these different things that I've been missing out on.
Outside of those three things.
Yeah, outside of those three things. I just started to I wanted to learn. I wanted to be, observant of the things around me. I wanted to be open to other people and what they like to do. And I wanted to start to like, maybe I need to go to the club. Maybe I need to go on a vacation. Like I wasn't doing a whole ton of those things. It was always like, just stay in my lane, do what I'm doing and keep going. Like, I never would have had these conversations like back in high school, back when I was playing juniors, you know what I mean? Like, no way. It definitely helped me open up, and I just realized, like, I'd seen all these negative things going on in my life. Like, back to my dad a little bit, like, my dad was a very angry person growing up. He is very, and not that wrestling was bad. Like, I had fun with it too, but like, he'd pin me down. It's
aggressive wrestling.
Yeah, aggressive wrestling. And then we get to the point where, like, he pins me and he starts tapping on my chest. And this is the weirdest thing ever.
Instigating you?
Literally, like, I can't move, straddle me, tap on my chest until I piss my pants. I'm not joking. And, like, these are things that probably I lacked confidence, too. Like, I'd always been told I was...
Tears you down to a vulnerable state.
Yeah. I was always told I was a good hockey player in high school. And, like, you're doing really well. Like, keep going.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you. But then, like, in myself, I didn't think so. I was always thinking about all the other people around me and how good they were.
You play with confidence, dude.
Yeah, well, now, I'm a little older. I play with more confidence now. A lot more confidence now than I think I would back in the day. But, like, he was hard on me, and things were always so negative. And to shed more light, like, I have a great relationship with my dad now. Like, Dad, I love you, because I know you're probably going to listen to this. So... You're awesome. He's gotten to where he is today. He's used a little bit of his religion to get back to where he needs, and I'm thankful for that. But when we were growing up, we had tough times. There was, he went to rehab 2 times, and it was not easy on me either. I remember being really upset at him about it, like really upset at him about it, because the first time. And this is still a gray area that him and I will never probably see eye to eye on either. But he told me that he said he was, he called me and said, like, yeah, I'm going to rehab. And on my end, I never remember having that conversation. I don't remember getting a call from my stepmom saying that he was going to be in rehab during Christmas. And
how old were you?
This was senior year of high school.
Jeez.
Like, around that time, if I'm off by a year, I'm sorry, Dad, but, like, it wasn't. We'll never see eye to eye on it, and I don't care about it anymore. Because you don't believe
that you had that call?
Yeah, but just, if it happened or not, whatever. But, like, I still believe, like, I thought that Jen called me and saying, like, we're not doing Christmas because your dad's in rehab. And it was hard on me. I was very angry about it. Like, sorry.
You're good.
But he, and again, like, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, but.
You're talking about the first time.
Yeah, so I don't care anymore about if I was right, he was wrong, but it was hard. Like, I remember being upset with him and, like, the next Christmas, like telling him, no, I'm not going to come to your house kind of thing. Like, you want to meet me? We can meet somewhere and have lunch kind of thing. And
So it lasted like a whole year, kind of a grudge.
Yeah, like I was very upset because I just felt like, it was just something that I thought for the longest time, for the longest time, and I was kind of holding that grudge, like that he couldn't even tell me that it had happened. But again, we have this argument, we've had it before, of the gray area. It's over with, it's done with, and I'm admirable of where he's at now in his life, and that helped. But then there was another time, and whether you put this on or not is completely up to you. It's up to you.
It's up to you, really.
We'll decide later then. But my dad, he had moved to Indiana at this point before he was in Cleveland. But anyway,
when was this?
About a year or two after the first incident. Okay?
So you're in college, early college?
I think freshman year of college, kind of. Yeah, if I'm wrong, Dad, correct me. But he got really drunk one night, and it was not easy to hear this phone call either. He got really drunk, and my dad's an outdoorsman, so he has guns in the house, you know what I mean? He has shotguns, he has a handgun. The handgun's more just for protection of the house, in the safe right next to his bed all the time, I'm sure. But I get a call, and he's drunk, and he's got the gun around, and he's pointing it around at my sisters and my stepmom, and I'm hearing this conversation, and again, just a disbelief of what's going on, I don't know,
he called you?
Yeah, I got the conversation, he called me, him and my stepmom, I believe she called, and then I talked to my dad, but details don't matter to me at this point, just there's the fact that something like that had happened again was so hard, it's just so much more negative stuff going on, and I'm already tough on myself as it is because I want to be good at hockey. I'm already tough on myself as it is because I don't have as much confidence as maybe I should. And then I'm the follower of the group, all these things are kind of happening at the same time, and it's just so frustrating. And that's kind of led up to that changing point in my life, a year or two after that had happened. I was just I'm always so negative. I'm always just so and it's not that I was negative around people. You can ask people. I'm a very happy, easygoing person. Yeah. It's just, I was so negative inside. I was always just pent up, and I was finally just ready to make that change. And I just, obviously there were other stories between me and my mom that were harsh, but me calling her the C word is the one of the bright points.
But you learned from that, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there is another story, and I think I gotta share it because people will think this is hilarious at the same time.
There you go.
So
a little undertone of humor.
Yeah, but Dad, I love you. I know you. We all do bad things, again, by the way, because I want you to listen to this. But I love you for who you are, and I'm glad we could have a great relationship, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on Monday. So, but my mom. So this was 8th grade, end of 8th grade, okay? This will be a funny story because I don't know if you've ever heard the details about this, but so very end of school, hanging out at a friend's house, not doing names or anything, hanging out at my friend's house. I come home that night, we had a day off of school. It was a Wednesday or Thursday. I was hanging out at a friend's house, stayed the night, blah, blah, blah. The next day, came home, hung out, everything was fine, because we didn't have school the next day. I stayed over, after school on a Wednesday, came home on, Thursday afternoon. She picked me up after work. Friday morning comes, and I'm serious. I think this was, our last week of school before, I don't know, to be a, finals week or whatever, 8th grade. Or whatever. Yeah, no, end of the school year, okay. June. This was, right.
You're saying 8th grade?
8th grade, right before we graduated 8th grade.
Oh, boy.
I wake up, and my mom is screaming at me. And I'm like, what the heck? What did I do? This is, our last, day of school. I'm, Spirit Week, I'm assuming, so happy to get up and go. And she's screaming at me, and I'm just, no clue what I did. No clue what I did. She starts talking and screaming, and in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what she's pissed about. So I decided that I was going to go, do it the first time. So And my mom just
God.
laid into me, and I'll never forget that conversation. And she was pissed at me, like, for 2 weeks. Like, no phone, no doing anything,
Wait,
no
so you did
going
that,
out.
making sure that she knew you did that?
No. My friend's parent ended up telling my mom.
I'm going to ask you to friend off the air.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's how she found out. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, boy.
but yeah, no, like, and I just remember her being so pissed at me too. And I'm just like, innocent little kid. Like, I don't know. It sounded like a good, yeah, well, yeah, you see what I mean? But it sounded like a good idea. Whatever, get it done with. Like, I don't want to worry about it, you know? Like,
oh my
God. I don't know, but she was so pissed, and I don't even know how to explain that to her because she's female and things like that. Like, you know, she's like, "Why would you even do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
What, you thought you were too young?
Yeah, and so, like, you know, whatever, it happened. But my mom, I just remember that being one of the moments in my life too, where my mom was like, livid at me, like, no, like, you could not have done that.
See, and it's funny now. That's good.
And now she'd probably be like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
boys will be boys.
Exactly. She'll never want a girl. She'll admit that. She'll be like, I'm so happy I had 3 boys.
Oh,
Wild fact that I have a 3-year-old brother right now too.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's just another.
I forget about that
thing.
until you bring it up.
Yeah, like, I have a 17-year-old brother who's a senior in high school, and a 3-year-old brother because she's, you know, engaged to Ryan, I should say. You know, they're waiting to get married until I'm done with school. But again, I love you, Mom, and I love you, Dad, even though I probably pissed you off a lot more than you wanted, including, like, the fight in 8th grade. You know what I mean? There's another pent up, like...
That wasn't even your fault.
But that wasn't my fault. I got attacked
on
on that one.
He just was defending himself. I can vouch for that.
I got the second round, too. Somebody came in with a little, you know... Somebody came in with a blindside punch before the kid even tried to approach me.
We won't know any names, but if you might be listening, and if you are, you know damn well who you are.
Thanks for giving him the first one.
Eased him up for him. If I can, do you mind if I ask a question on your previous story? If you don't want to go down that road, we don't have to.
You're good, man.
But, I mean, I have several questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, that's got to be hard news. I guess 2 questions. One... After getting that call, what do you do?
Well, I guess...
Or even on that call, like, you can't go there and help.
I know, and I think that was the hardest part, and I think it was after a game, and I had another game that day, you know, at U of D senior year. Yeah. I think, you're talking about the second one?
Second
I'm sorry. Yeah, honestly, I think it was during hockey season, and I think I was still in juniors. I think it was the spring of juniors before freshman year, but... I remember, I think it was in between games, like I had a game the next day, you know, it was after a game that night I got the call, but the one thing that I always still think about, and I still to this day, is like, my family, just the way I was raised is completely weird compared to most people, like, weren't married, and then parents both got married when I was 5, both had kids, you know, and now my dad and mom are both on their 3rd relationship, so I have even more family kind of thing, but anyway.
I think that's more common than you'd think.
It might be a little more common than you think, yeah, but from the, you know, standard, more normal, whatever. But what is going through my sister's heads? Because if this is 5 years ago now, I would have been 19, 20.
Around there.
So they were like 11, 12.
And they were there.
Yeah, like Grace was like 12 or 12, and Maddie was probably like 9, 8, something like that. And they were there, you know, with my dad. He's out there drunk.
Yeah, so how are you supposed to just hang up the phone and then like go about your day?
That's what I'm saying. Is like I'm always think about what is going through my sister's heads. What did they think about it? You know, and like I still talk to my sisters, and I talk to my brother. It's just like, you know, I guess that I want our relationships to be more, and I've been more active about trying to have a relationship with my sisters and brothers. It's just always been distant because like they lived in Cleveland my whole life, and then they moved to Indiana. You know what I mean? So it was just I never saw them because I stayed with my mom, and then my brother was at his dad's every other week, and then we had, you know, this age gap, so I couldn't like. They would never even come to me with questions either, you know, like my little sisters. But I just, that day, like, dude, I don't know. Like, there was
kind of like blank out thinking about it.
It was like blanked out, yeah. But always looking back at it, like, could I, should I have gone there the next day? Like, should I have called and seen how my sisters were doing? Should I have called my stepmom and asked how she was doing? I don't know, but like I still think about like what was going through their heads when this happened, And my dad is a great man. Like who he is today, and my sisters and him still have a great relationship. He has a great relationship with my stepmom, but like in that moment, it's scary. I'm sure it had to have been like one of the scariest things that they had ever gone through, And I hope maybe one day I can have a conversation with them about that. I think that I want them both to grow up a little more. Grace is a junior in high school. Maddie's a freshman. They're still kind of, venturing high school. So it's, weird time,
Give them some time.
Yeah. But one day I hope that maybe I can ask and we can, take an hour or so or just something and hash out like how we all felt about it. And because I don't want them to ever think that like I'm never there for them or I don't want to be there for them. And even my brothers, you know what I mean? Like I want him and even the little Chase right now is 3. Like,
are you the oldest out of all of the siblings and half siblings?
Yeah. So I think it's 6.5 years between me and Jackson, 7.5 between me and Grace, 9 between me and Maddie, and 21 between me and Chase. So that one will be interesting once he gets a little older. But I want them all to know, like, I'm always there for them. And I've always told them, like, feel free to reach out. Like, please, if you ever need anything, please reach out, ask me. And now I look at it and I'm like, dude, I got to start being the one to reach out, because now that I look out over these years, and I'm just thinking about this now too, is like, they probably wanted me to reach out. You know what I mean? Like, they're like a little more innocent and they're the younger one. And like, I need to be reaching out and I need to be doing these things. And I haven't. So this is something that I really am going to try to be more proactive about. And I think being home for Christmas, I see my brother every other week.
Yeah.
So it's a little easier. I talk to him sometimes and I try to get more back from him, and I'm hoping he'll give more back soon, But my sisters, it's just tough. It's always been so tough. Like, I want them to know I'm there. But I guess it's just more, the way I grew up is I never was the one to reach out to people or never taking action, except for when it came to hockey. Like, I was always trying to be a leader. But, like, real life, I was never, like, proactively trying to, like, reach out to them, see how they're doing as much as I think I should have, And now I want that to be a thing, because I see everybody has had trouble in the past. Everybody's had hard times. Everybody's gone through hardship. Everybody's gone through these hard things that they've had to deal with their whole life. And I don't want the people who are closest to me to have to go through that without being able to express it,
Yeah, and let me just tell you, hearing all that, 2 things. For one, I'm very proud of you, and I think you should be proud of yourself that situation, the second time you got the phone call, you said that was kind of like your awakening call of you want to start doing more things on your own, you want to be a better person. Lots of people would take that and crumble and then go down a depressive state. It sounds like you handled it a lot better than probably a lot of different people would. So for one, be proud of yourself for that. For 2, let me just tell you, as the youngest of 3 brothers, you're the oldest. I cannot tell you how much I idolized and looked up to both my brothers my entire life. And if you reached out to them, even if they take it weird, I guarantee you they idolize you and that they would love to hear from you, because unfortunately I was always close to my brothers, but it took me literally on the verge of suicide to basically reach out to them, and I didn't know how much I meant to them until that moment, and we were all in the car basically crying. So but I learned that they also look up to me and I look up to them just as much. So I'm just saying, whether they reach out to you or you reach out to them, it's gonna be a very powerful thing. And I'm not trying to get like all like sappy or emotional, but I'm just saying, you should know that, in my opinion, I think that your younger siblings idolize you a lot more than you might think, because I can't tell you how much my brothers have been and will always be my heroes and people I reach out to and people I know love me wholeheartedly, and they've set such good examples of what I want to be. So, even though you don't know for certain, I would make a bet that they look up to you more than you might think. So,
well, thank you. And I just hope that I can do that, Well, not that I want to be this figure they look up to, but I just want to be there for them, I want to be there for anything that they need. I want them to come with me with questions and stuff. But now talking about this, I need to be the one who's proactively going out.
It's fucking hard.
And it's hard because, everybody's different personalities and different comfort levels and,
and different maturity levels too. You're much older. Yeah. They might not get it right away when you do it.
And I guess it kind of comes into play of like, my mom told me this when I got home. She was like, I was kind of talking about my plans with me and, my girlfriend trying to figure out because she lives in Wisconsin.
Shout out
M Dog.
Is it Nettie?
Nettie. My girl. Everybody calls her Nettie.
I've only met her like twice, I think.
Yeah.
I think you introduced me to her as Nettie.
Yeah, she calls me Carbs. I call her Nettie.
That's classic.
We are, and it's also crazy is like I shoot on goalies all summer with goalie coaches and stuff, and she's a goalie. So like just another like coincidence kind of thing, I guess you call it.
Do you score more or does she save more? Like if you guys are versing each other?
Oh, I score more by far. Yeah, and she can hear that, Nettie. I definitely score more.
We'll see. We might have to get her on here and see what she says.
Yeah, well, I want you guys to meet her more. It's just tough. I guess tough. She lives in Wisconsin, so. Yeah. But anyway,
she's dead.
She's a Packers fan too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, we're ending this.
Yeah. I took her to a Lions game last Christmas.
That's where I met her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I couldn't remember.
What a dick.
I couldn't remember when we met. You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm sorry. But my mom was like, we were talking about plans for Christmas, and I'm telling her, I'm going to go see Emily, but I want to see my dad, blah, blah, blah. Never easy for me, Christmas, having all this crap. But anyway, she was like, well, I'd really like you to at least be here Christmas Day. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to be home for Christmas Day. Like, where else would I be? Kind of thing. Like, I'm usually with my mom Christmas Day, no matter what. Like, mom, dad, whatever I did growing up, usually with my mom. But anyway, she was like, this could be one of the last Christmases you're here. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you're going to have your own place soon, probably. Like, you and Emily are probably going to start splitting time, holidays. Like, you may not be here on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of one of more of those things, too, that was like, just wake up, man. Like, time's moving quicker than you think.
Older than you think.
Yeah, kind of thing. Like, you got to appreciate it. So, like, I went up to my mom a couple days later, and I was like, can I give you a hug? And she was like, yeah,
fuck.
Well, yeah, my mom's not a hugger either. Like, she doesn't not like to hug.
I can just picture your mom being like, what's wrong with you? Are you high?
And I was like, I just want to give you a hug. Like, I told her I appreciate you, and I just want to show you that I appreciate you more, and I know you're not a hugger, but you're going to give me a hug right now.
That's
and she
hilarious.
was like, okay. Because what she said just kind of, wholesome to me. I was like, damn, just like, shoot, things are going to start changing here soon. And I guess that's where it made me realize, like, about my siblings. Like,
yeah,
shit, I got to be the one who's going to be a little more proactive if I want to know what's going on in their lives, And I guess that's, now I look at it, my parents did the same thing when I left for juniors in college, They just, and sorry, Dad, for telling you I wanted space, but I told my dad at one point, like, Dad, stop calling me. I just want to relax for, like, 5 days, but I'm sorry because you're worried and you want to know how I'm doing and all these things.
You realize that, every day you get older, I feel like when I was a kid, I was always like, there's two different kind of aspects to it. One, men don't have emotion, but at the same time, I saw my dad. He'd always be, he'd get so sappy when he was talking about his kids. He'd go on Facebook and I love my kids so much. I'm like, yo, this guy's so emotional. And it's like every day I get older, I'm like, I'm more emotional now. It's like, oh, I love this guy. I love my friends. I love my family. It's like, holy shit. So it is funny, you get, at least for me, I hear a lot more things that come from people I care about, and they fucking hit me, dude. And like, I was never like a crier as a kid or like a super emotional person. Yeah. But if like someone who I care about shares something that's very powerful, it's like, god damn. Like even watching movies, like as a kid or even like, early teenage years, I'd be watching a movie, like my mom would be crying, like, oh, it's a fucking movie.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Way. And now I'll be watching a movie, I'm like,
you'd be like, damn,
like, God,
get me.
Like, sweating, my eyes are sweating. Take it easy.
Same thing, yeah. Like,
it's fucking crazy.
I mean, if I was crying growing up, it was when no one was going to see. Kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I would go to my room. There'd be those times where I'm punching the pillow or whatever. Yeah, like just getting so upset. Like you're gonna crowd me.
Fucking hit yourself in the face.
Yeah, like you're gonna crowd me for the weekend. Like
fuck you, I'm gonna run away.
Yeah,
never even thought of actually doing it.
No, never actually got to the point of either doing that. But yeah, like I think that all these things that kind of happened, like growing up and then coming into play of like becoming who I am and learning all these different aspects, like, is again that kind of turning point where I was like, I want to do more, and I reached out to you, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
brings it full circle to
ending. It brings it full circle, yeah. But it's after this is where it's like my life after sports, kind of. You know what I'm saying? It's like I had all these things going for me, but it was always hockey. It was always, all right, make sure your grades are okay so you can get into college to play hockey. Okay, now I'm at hockey, and I'm in juniors, and this is kind of like, let me take it back. Senior year of high school, okay? So senior year, I'm captain, okay? I get elected captain going into senior year. And this is kind of like my hockey story going and moving on. Like, I had 11 other seniors who were on my team. And in high school hockey, you know what I mean? Usually you have a mix of all 4 grades. Like, you know, maybe not 12 people on one team. Mm-hmm. Nope, we had 12 seniors. So, you know, everybody in my grade had been there all 4 years. Like, they played most of them had played JV. I was a lucky one who unfortunately didn't. So again, that was another like kind of, I was, you know, maybe not an outcast, but like a pin on my shoulder or a pin on my head, you know, kind
chip
of thing.
On your shoulder.
Yeah, like they probably viewed me as, you know, oh, he's better than us, but whatever. I don't care about that stuff anymore, about if they thought that or not. But it was not easy having 11 other seniors.
No,
let me say that. Like, oh, they gave me the hardest time in the world. You know, the guys I hung out with all the time, Neil, Jack, Shane, all those dudes. Oh, well, Shane didn't give me a hard time. Shane was too nice and innocent. I'm sorry.
Good guy, Shane.
Good guy. But yeah, everybody else, yeah, I was definitely the butt of the jokes. Definitely senior year for sure. Oh yeah, butt of the jokes. Chubbler. you got a little preview of that last week, but yeah, Chubbler. Neil definitely kind of ran with that one. And Neil's still a good guy. They gave it to me hard. They made it tough on me, that's for sure. Like,
dude, if people just took some of these clips and you're saying a lot of things that have like double innuendos.
Whatever. But,
I love it.
You know,
anyway,
you know, he gave me a hard time, and that's just kind of one of the things is I was always just focused on hockey. Like, I just wanted to do well. So I guess that's why I was hard on my teammates, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess if anybody has watched The Last Dance with Jordan, I'm not comparing myself to Jordan, let me put that anyway, but like, how they would say like he's hard on his teammates and like
he expects
the best out of everybody every day. I'm not joking. I was just like that was me in senior year because we had been to the semifinals twice and we'd lost both times, once in overtime, like the 2 years previous. And like I didn't want to settle for that. I wanted to get to that Saturday game at CompuWare, and like I was just always so hard on everybody. And looking back on it, I see where everybody was probably giving me a hard time, and it was just jokes. But in my eyes, it was a hard time.
Yeah.
They just wanted me to relax. Like, they literally just wanted me to relax. And now looking at it in juniors, again, any teammates from juniors that listen to this, same way. I was like this. I was just tied up like a knot. You know what I mean? Like, I was just so focused on, like, what was going to happen next and what was going forward and what I needed to do to get to the next level. Instead of just, like, appreciating what was happening and joking around and having a time and, you know, maybe not trying to put my teammates on how well they're doing on my own shoulders and just let them handle it, you know? And that's something I've learned now that, like, I'm kind of starting about to venture away from hockey, I guess you'd say, as my career's coming to an end. Yeah. But, like, that turning point of when I reached out to you was just kind of when I realized, like, dude, even though guys view me as a leader, like, I was captain in high school and in juniors, I wasn't, but I felt like I was a presence on the team. Like, I see it now. I was just so, like, I just had a misconception of what I needed to do.
Almost, right?
Yeah, to be a leader. I was focused on all these, what everybody else could, I was focused on everything that everybody else could control instead of what I could control. And I know it sounds like, you know, control what you can control. Super easy analogy, but literally that's all I needed to do in juniors is just focus on playing and having fun, and I didn't. You know what I mean? I was just focused on why wasn't I on power play? You know, well, why wasn't I succeeding more than I was? Why wasn't I getting more points? Why is this kid getting committed there? And I just had to start to realize, like, dude, like, you got to stop worrying about all this stuff that you can't control.
Bro, as a control freak myself, that's the most true thing that I've realized. I'm still a control freak, but much, much better than I was. I used to freak out if my friends didn't do as they said, or my girlfriend didn't do as they said, or if I could control shit. That was an issue for me. And now I realized try to control stuff I can't control. But if, for example, if I try to control what you do, it's only going to piss you off, and I'm only going to get upset when you inevitably do something that is out of my control.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of stressing about it all the time and then getting pissed off when I can't control it, just accept that it might not go the way I want it. And if I'm dealing with a person in this scenario, after it goes off the rails of what I wanted it to be, then we can kind of work together and figure out, if it didn't go the right way, how it should be handled. But realizing what you can't control and then just letting that go is very hard.
It's hard.
But it saves you so much time and energy.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's the more and more I let go of things that I can't control, the happier I am. But it is very difficult because you think you're right, and you just want if we just did it my way, dude, just come on.
I know what you mean, and we can even bring that into light, anything to do with BLM, politics, and all that. Oh yeah, we all have these great ideas and answers, but all we can do is speculate because we're not in control of all that. So it's just I'll tell you how I feel, but I'm not going to stress myself out about it, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
That goes back to we just want to fix it. You have to hear, I can't control you. I have to hear how you feel. And then if you ask for my advice, then I can give it to you.
Then
if you don't ask for my advice, why would I just fucking push my agenda in your face? It's the same thing I don't like about people who are overly religious and push their agenda in my face.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm controlling, I'm pushing my agenda in your face, which no one likes.
Yeah.
And some people can tolerate it more than others, but at a certain point, everybody will be like, yo, get off my fucking back.
Mm-hmm. You got to have that room to breathe. We got to learn how to live together. We have all these different types of personalities in the world, and it's not just type A, type B, type T, type C, type D. There's millions of different personalities in this world now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just being able to work with each other and understand, we have similarities. You know what I'm saying? Where you see the control stuff. I had to humble myself and take a step back. I can't control all these things, We can see eye to eye on all that stuff, you know what I mean? Everybody has similarities. It just might not be exactly.
Well, we're all human.
Yeah, it's just not exact,
Yeah.
Just open your ears and open your mind a little bit to hear what every other people have to say, and it can go a long way. And I'm glad I started doing that,
Yeah.
It's brought me a long way to who I am and who I am aspiring to be,
Yeah, I feel that, and I've definitely been humbled a shit ton recently.
Mm-hmm.
And we could keep going on that line, but
yeah, there's a lot of things going on that can make you a lot more humbled nowadays, especially in the recent years.
But I think you need that. I needed it.
Yeah, everybody.
So I didn't get carried away.
Yeah,
but
everybody needed it.
We'll have to have you on another time to keep going. But before we end, you know what I like to do to end the podcast? Ask you something that you do that helps you achieve mental health or happiness or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, is there anything that you'd like to share that you do to kind of keep you happy or to achieve good mental health?
Mm-hmm. I have a couple things, general things, and I have a specific one in my mind. But I like to work out. I've always tried to keep in shape. A lot of it was for hockey. I'm growing up, but I like to work out. It's good, gets your body moving. I like to sweat, but I like to play games doing it. So basketball, hockey, I think that's where more I'm gearing toward is just playing pickup games and things like that, but
not overly competitive, just sports.
Yeah, let's just go play a game of basketball. I'd like to do that more. I like to play hockey, obviously. Kind of hard to do that right now.
Yeah.
Tough times, but for me, music has been a huge one in the past 2 years that I've latched on to. Listening, yeah, listening and DJing. So I've this new passion in the past 8 months. Yeah, that's a house music. I know what you mean. Boots and Pants, Joe Lascaro. Thanks for that. He gives me a hard time.
About.
My teammate, my line mate,
okay.
He gives me such a hard time because he calls it boots and pants music. Boots and pants and boots and pants. And it's
that makes sense, actually.
It makes sense. It's a good one. I give it to him. But that's another thing that's helped me. But for me, driving. Driving, I think, is one of the huge, and I underappreciate it than I think I see it more value now that I'm a little older. But driving for me, because just put my phone down, put my songs on Spotify and just put it on shuffle. I try not to get too specific on my music when I'm driving. I usually just go with my songs because there's probably 700 on there. And then I have my playlist, to hash it out and what's in what. But I usually just throw it on and, just go and drive, and I can just relax. Like I don't think when I drive. I don't think about like, obviously I think about where I'm driving and where I'm going. I have to do that, but I don't think about if I'm going to work. All right, what do I got to do at work today? Blah blah blah. I'm just relaxing. I'm enjoying
driving aimlessly.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the view. I'm just like calm and peaceful. I'm singing along to the song. Nothing's gonna make me mad. Even if somebody, and I used to be bad, like road rager, and my dad and mom used to be the same way, so they can attest. But if somebody cuts me off nowadays, I'm just gonna be like, I might honk at them.
Turn it up more.
Yeah, but I'm going to turn the music up more, and it's like, all right, whatever. But, like, I might honk at them just to give them, like, hey, you were a little close. Like, that's the worst thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to be like, are you kidding me? And start, like, raging in the car anymore. So driving is just something that has let me just calm, just relax, just breathe, and just listen to music. And if I'm in the mood to sing, yeah, I'm going to jam out. You know what I mean?
There you go. Edwina.
Yeah. Edwina.
Throwing it back to middle school.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Edwina. Oh,
hell yeah, dude.
I'm glad there's no videos of that still around.
Yeah, I don't think they have them anymore, but I like that. I definitely like to drive. But if you work for a car company and you're listening to this, sponsor this guy, hook him up so he can get a nice ass car to just drive.
I would love that. I'm looking into a new car. We were just talking about that before the podcast. If my podcast
could lead into a sponsorship for somebody, I'm doing pretty good. So if you know him, hit him up, give him a car, he'll drive.
I would love that.
Anyway, thank you, buddy, for coming on. It was awesome. You don't need a podcast to reach out to me. I think we know that now.
Yeah, we know that for sure. 100%.
So thank you for coming on. It's been fun. For anybody listening, if you want to be on the podcast, I encourage you to come on. Whether I don't know you, anything in between, come on. Send me a message on Instagram, TIMM Podcast, or you can send me an email if you're still doing that at timmpod@gmail.com. Or, send a smoke signal or a messenger bird or, telepathically. Any way you want to communicate to me that you want to come on, I'd love to have you.
Pony Express.
I don't even know what that is, but Pony Express you could do.
Horses. Back in the day, they used to use horses. It's called the Pony Express in the
Pony
U.S.
Express. If you have a horse, I'd love to have a horse girl on.
A horse girl? I could probably find some at school for you. Angola's a hot spot for that stuff, man.
If you're from Angola listening, please come on. Anyway, guys, until next week, see you later.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.